calculate the integral of x square root of 3 minus x over 2 dx. 3 minus x over 2 is inside the radical, so let's choose that for u. U equals 3 minus x over 2. Then we find du by taking the derivative. 3 is constant, so its derivative is 0. Negative 1x over 2, if we take its derivative, we get negative 1/2. So du is negative 1/2 dx. Now, before we replace things on here, we have the dx, which we need, but we're missing this negative 1/2. So what we'll do is multiply the integral by negative 1/2, and then divide by negative 1/2, or multiply by negative 2 on the outside to make up for it. Let's rewrite what we've got so far. This is negative 2 integral of x square root of 3 minus x over 2 is what we chose for u. So we're going to replace all of this inside with just u. And then dx times negative 1/2, that's what we chose for du. We have a problem here in that we have a mixture of both u's and x's. When this happens, go back to the original substitution and solve for x. So if we take u equals 3 minus x over 2, to solve this for x, first let's subtract 3 from both sides of the equation. So we have u minus 3 equals negative x over 2. Then let's multiply both sides by negative 2. So this will give us negative 2u plus 6 equals x. Now that we know what x is, we can replace this x with what we just found. So this we'll rewrite as negative 2 times the integral of negative 2u plus 6 times the square root of u, which we may as well rewrite as u to the 1/2 du. Now we'll simplify by distributing this u to the 1/2 to both terms. So we've got negative 2 integral of negative 2 times u to the first times u to the 1/2. We're going to add the exponents to get u to the 3/2. Plus, we also distribute the u to the 1/2 to the sixth term. So 6u to the 1/2 du. Now we can integrate term by term using the power rule. So to remind you, if you have something of the form the integral of u to the n du, we integrate by adding 1 to the exponent, dividing everything by the new exponent, plus c. So in this case, the negative 2 on the outside will just stay. The negative 2 on the u to the 3/2 terms will stay. We'll increase the power by 1. So if we add 1 to 3/2, we get 5/2. Divide by the new power, so divide by 5/2. And then we proceed into the next term the same way. We'll keep the 6 because it's a constant multiple. The power rule says increase the power by 1, divide by the new power, and then plus c. Now before we finish this up, let's simplify by getting rid of these complex fractions. Instead of dividing by 5/2, we'll rewrite this as a multiplication by the reciprocal. So we've got negative 2 on the outside. Negative 2 times the reciprocal of 5/2 is 2/5. U to the 5/2 plus 6 times. Here we've got a division by 3/2. We'll turn that into multiplication by the reciprocal. U to the 3/2 plus c. And now we can replace all the u's that we see with what we chose for u in the first place. So this gives us negative 2 times negative 4/5. Instead of u, we have 3 minus x over 2 to the 5/2. Plus, we multiply these together and we're going to reduce to get 4 times u, which is 3 minus x over 2 to the 3/2 plus c. We can go one more step and distribute this negative 2 to both terms. And this will give us positive 8/5, 3 minus x over 2 to the 5/2 minus 8 times 3 minus x over 2 to the 3/2 plus c.